Attention all you Amtrak customers waiting to get moving again on Amtrak number 19, the Crescent Line with service to New Orleans, Louisiana. Once again, we apologize for the delays we are experiencing on account of the weather. Looks like we're still going to be delayed at least another hour. I'll give you any updates just as soon as I have them, and we'll get y'all on your way. Thank you for riding Amtrak.
Excuse me, I hate to be bothered, but did you happen to hear if they said anything about the train heading south to New Orleans, the Crescent, number 19? How long? Oh, an hour. Well, I've been waiting most all my life to get where I'm supposed to. Reckon I can wait another while to get there. Reckon we all got to wait a while anyways. I do apologize for bothering you. Didn't mean to sound so anxious. It's just that I need to get myself down to Gilly Bend, Alabama as soon as humanly possible because of the message I've been getting. You see, I've been having all... Now, where are my manners? I haven't yet introduced you to my traveling companion. This is Miss Isabella Rainsong. Isn't she a thing of beauty? You think she's a looker? Just wait till you hear how she sounds. Miss Isabella says she is very pleased to make your acquaintance. I never get tired of hearing Miss Rainsong sing. You know, me and Miss Rainsong, we've been singing and riding the rails together for about 3 years now. We've been back and forth across the continent, up and down both coasts more times than I can count. No particular destination in mind, just riding. You know, riding on a train, it ain't like riding in a car. In a car, you're looking straight ahead, you can see what's coming. You can look back and see where you've been. On a train, you're just looking out the side like you're watching a movie where the world slowly passes you by. It's like you're on the outside looking in and not a part of anything. It's like you're living on the edge of the world. Living on the edge gives a sense of direction, a final destination for a wandering soul. Living on the edge leads to deep introspection. Once it gets you started, you spin out of control. Living on the edge, you tend to lose your sense of mission. What used to look so dangerous now seems to be fine. Living on the edge is a precarious position. Just a little step, you've crossed over the line of the edge. The edge of the world. Living on the edge gives a different point of view. You can see things clearly if you see them at all. Helps you keep the space between the old and the new, the things you can't remember and the things you recall. Living on the edge, you catch a glimpse of forever. Makes you wonder what's on the other side. Looking over the edge is a futile endeavor. There's nothing really there, so there's nothing to hide on the other side of the edge of the world. On the edge of the world you can see the rainbow's end, or reach out your hand and touch a shooting star. You can lift up your eyes and see across the universe and know who you are, who you are. On the edge of the world, you don't get a lot of company. Not a lot of through traffic or passers-by. It's the end of the line, the last scene of the show. There's no turning back, there ain't nowhere to go. Ready or not, dead or alive, you're already there by the time you arrive. It's just the luck of the draw, a roll of the dice. It's got nothing to do with who's been naughty or nice. It's the end of all time, or the time for all ends, and the best you can do is keep hanging ten. On the edge of the world. On the edge of the world. By the looks I see on some of your faces, hello there, I can only imagine what you're thinking. How could such a remarkable and beautiful instrument belong to the likes of a scallywag like him? Well, I can certainly understand how such a question may enter your minds. I ask that you allow me to make some slight adjustments to your initial impression of the two of us and our association. On the first matter, possession, Miss Isabella Rainsong is in no way possessed by the likes of me, or by the likes of anyone else for that matter. In truth, it's closer to being the other way around, that she is the possessor and I the possessed. Instead, I suggest that the best way to describe our admittedly unique relationship is to say that she and I are traveling companions. On the second matter, me being a scallywag, that impression is more or less true. That is, if you have the mindset that once a scallywag, always a scallywag, I like to think of myself as a reformed scallywag. Though over the course of my life, I've done more than enough in the scallywag department to have qualified for a lifetime membership in the Scallywags of America Club. That much is for certain. I do, however, appreciate any charitable notions you may have in allowing me the benefit of the doubt that, despite appearances to the contrary, I am in fact a scallywag of the reformed sort. I'd venture to say that Miss Rainsong here is fully responsible for my reformation through the music she's brought to me and the people we've met through that music. Miss Isabella's influence has been spiritual, metaphysical even, if you want to get fancy about it. She works on me through the songs we write. We must have written a gazillion songs together. Or she wrote them and I was the transcriptionist or something like that. I really have no idea. You know, we even have a song about what this whole song transcribing experience feels like. This particular song will be a little easier for you to understand if you know these two little random factoids that she and I learned on our journey together. Factoid number one, most songs you hear on the radio, they're about 3.5 minutes long, which is the same as 210 seconds if I got my arithmetic right. Factoid number two is something we learned from a doctor, a surgeon, when she was sharing some stories about what she'd seen in the operating room. She mentioned that all the sutures and the scalpel blades, they have numbers with them, like a number 10 blade scalpel. Well, you take two factoids and you add them together, you get a metaphor wrapped up in a song. This song is about a number 210 scalpel. It's the length of a song and it's twice as sharp. And it pretty much describes what my experience with Miss Rainsong has been like. As the soul surgeon slices down the middle, she says, sit tight, this is gonna hurt a little, with a rib-cracking chorus and retracting refrain. The milk of anesthesia barely touches the pain. Tumor's exposed, but it can't be excised. The cancer runs deep, it's metastasized. The surgeon sees the fear in her patient's eyes. Just 3 minutes, 30 seconds, the procedure's through. The surgeon shakes her head and leaves, nothing more to do. Why, cried the patient, tell me, why'd you have to cut me instead of letting me be? Now I'm condemned to misery. That number 210 scalpel has got the best of me. His weary eyes spy the chart by the bed, replacing all the vital signs, I liner notes instead. And there he reads, so many broken souls are only fallow ground. Vibrations hit their ears, all you hear is sound. But the open soul resonates with every tone. You finish each line like it's already known and claim it for your own. And now your soul is chiming in. You didn't write the song, the surgeon doesn't forge the steel, but in the surgeon's hand the scalpel can heal. It's a lifelong procedure attempted by few, but take another look and you'll see the surgeon is you. The song is just a scalpel. The surgeon is you. That number 210 scalpel brings out the best in you. Thank you. But I suppose that none I just finished blathering on about is a particularly satisfying answer to the question that arose from your initial impression of the two of us in this Beauty and the Beast mismatch we appear to be. So perhaps the best thing for me to do is to share with you the story of how I came to be the traveling companion to this amazing creature. It is, I will say right up front, a bit long to tell, and more than a bit easy to take at best, as a flight of fancy that this here lost soul imagined to be true, because I'm touched in the head or otherwise afflicted by some mental disorder that makes it difficult for me to distinguish the fantastic from the real, or, at worst, as a conjured tale whose sole purpose is to separate you from your hard-earned money through some wild scheme of my own invention. I swear by everything good on this earth that what I'm telling you is what really happened, as best as I understand it, and that I am just as dumbfounded by the whole experience as you were likely to be once I tell you the truth of it. That is, if y'all want to hear about it. Here I go yammering on like some speed freak or some other thing without ever bothering to ask you if you got something you'd rather be doing, like sticking your nose in one of them electronic gizmos everybody seems to be carrying around these days, so there's no more to life than what you can stick in a little TV box the size of your palm, doing all that snap books and Insta-chat stuff all day long, instead of lifting your head up every once in a while, see what's happening in the real world. Like this one couple I saw a while back. There they sat in the cafe car booth across from me, each one working on their laptop and talking on their cell phone, doing important stuff, no doubt. Neither one of them paying one lick of attention to the other. After watching them for about 5 hours straight, the fellow or two finally lifts his head up long enough to notice me and Miss Rainsong. He tells me they're on a romantic weekend getaway together. I just smiled and started singing. Hit the snooze button, honey, doesn't matter, rain or sunny. I don't care if the sky is blue or green. Got no doubt we could find a dozen reasons to grind another workaday day through the mission machine. We never lack for excuses for the race we run. We hit the track and take our bruises, but we never get done. Our agenda's on a bender, it's demanding our surrender and proclaiming that there's no other way. But even if it's true, I say, not today. No, baby, not today. Not today. We'll drop that newspaper, baby. It'll make us both crazy trying to follow all the tragedy and politics. Sure, we need a good solution for tsunamis and pollution, but they're gonna have to wait another day for a fix. Right now, my only worry is the whistling pot telling me it's time to brew my baby something hot. And when the sun is finally slipping into something more befitting for a walk along the beach by the bay, we'll find some time to find a way, but not today. No, baby, not today. 'Cause today we're getting down to what we never get around to. Our to-dos will be infused with lots of time for me and you. We can't wait another day or let the hours waste away. So hurry up and turn it down without delay. Hey, hey. So turn the tube off, my love, 'cause we've had more than enough of all that stuff they call reality on TV. The only thing I know for real is your Buddha smile and the way you make me feel when it shines a while. Though I suppose in some scenario you could decide it's time to go, and as you turn to walk away, I'll turn your back gently to say, not today. No, baby, not today. Not today, not tomorrow. Don't you ever, never go away. No, baby, not today. I do apologize for sounding all uppity about all them iPhones and iPads and doodads that folks seem to be taking over folks' lives these days. I guess my strung out self is just a little wound up on account of the fact that these last 4 weeks in particular have been, well, I guess you could say intense. And they got my mind flying every which way and had me very anxious about getting myself down to Gilly Bend, Alabama because of the message I've been having. But it wouldn't make much sense to tell you about the message and the visitation without me first telling you about Miss Rainsong and me. Otherwise, you might take me for some kind of lunatic. Not that you might not anyways. You know, come to think of it, I never have actually told anybody the whole story from stem to stern. I reckon on account of the fact that we've been kind of busy living it. It might help me sort this whole thing out to say it out loud so as you all can hear and judge for yourselves whether I'm a nutcase or a fool, or whether I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to. Seems like we got time anyways, so maybe I should just start from the start and see if we can't get all cut up to the here and now. Would that be all right with all y'all? All right then, thank you. Well, for the purpose of getting to the parts that matter most, let's just agree right here now that the life I'd led up to a point about 3 years ago didn't amount to a hill of beans. Less than that even. I'd say if there was anyone on this earth who'd done less of anything to be of use of himself or others, you'd be hard-pressed to find him. I lied, cheated, and abused my way through pretty much everyone who ever crossed my path. I don't reckon there's a single soul who would have mourned my passing back then, including me. The turning point came at a train station a whole lot like this one. The night I walked into that station, I was on the run from one thing or another. I didn't have a dime to my name, and I wasn't sure if I was going to jump onto the next train leaving town or jump out in front of it. Frankly, I didn't give a damn one way or the other. Pardon my French, ma'am. The place was dead quiet. Not a soul in it that I could see. Just one train was scheduled to come through that night. Kind of makes it hard to slip onto a passenger train unnoticed when you're the only one getting on. So at that point, The odds were decidedly in favor of my head becoming an Amtrak hood ornament within the hour. It was as dark a moment in my life as I ever hoped to have. Right about then, I finally clued in to the wah, 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 wah. The station master kept repeating over the PA, "With the traveling companion of Miss Isabella Rainsong, please meet her in front of the information booth." Now, I'm standing right at the information booth, and like I said, there wasn't a soul anywhere in the place. You understand, I wasn't exactly in a socializing sort of mood, so I had in mind to make myself scarce. I walk around the front, and bam! That first touch was like a first kiss. I swear, it's like she plugged herself into my spine and sent electricity into all my fingers and toes. I had never felt anything like it. And I'm telling you, it took my breath away. I still feel it today. Not quite as intense as that first time. But it still feels amazing to hold Miss Rainsong in my arms. Like embracing a black hole of sunshine or a black light, warm and cool at the same time. That's about the time I noticed the envelope. It was stuck up there on the top with a little clip. Found out later they call this thing a capo, like the bite off my nose. So I pulled it out, took a peek inside. There's a letter. "Hello, traveler. My name is Miss Isabella Rainsong. I am very pleased to make your acquaintance. Over the years of riding these rails across this fine land of ours, I have found the journey much more pleasurable when shared with a companion. Don't you agree?" Well, I can tell you for certain that, at the time anyways, I most definitely did not agree with the notion of having a traveling companion. For me, traveling usually took the form of skipping town in the middle of the night like I had been that night. Such modes of transit are loath to be weighted down by things like companions and belongings. So I'm mulling over this strange note and sticking it back in the envelope when I notice it contains something else. A ticket. This ticket entitles its bearer and one traveling companion unlimited coach class passage on the Amtrak rail system throughout the continental United States of America. That's it. No restrictions, no expiration date. It looked real enough, printed up all fancy, but I couldn't imagine it could be actually a bona fide ticket, more like a souvenir or something. Still, I figured it'd at least be good enough to get me onto the train before they'd be on to me, and by that time we'd be on our way. Sure enough, we're nothing at all hopping on the train. Station master didn't say boo to me as I walked past him on the platform. Seems like the train barely came to a stop as I boarded. Lickety-split, we was on our way. So now, they'd have to drop me off at the next stop once they saw my bogus ticket, which was fine by me because I already had a plan in mind, and that plan was pawn shop. This guitar must be worth a little something. Figured I could at least get enough for a decent meal and a bottle of Troubles Be Gone from the liquor store. I'll tell you what, it breaks my heart to admit I ever carried such a thought in my mind, even for a minute. Well, that whole notion blew right on by when the conductor stepped into my car. This scowl of a rickety man starts clickety-clacking his little hole puncher like it's making the trains go. Chicka, 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 ticket, chicka, 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 ticket, please. Now, he must have known full well that I was the only new passenger getting on board, but he seemed to need to make a big deal out of checking to be sure everybody was accounted for. He's halfway down to my row in the middle of the car, and already I can feel my heart pounding like it's going to pop right out of my chest. Now, you have to appreciate that by this point in my life, I had elevated the bold-faced lie to a fine art, as I was in the habit of making stuff up on the fly for no particular reason other than to exercise my craft. I could look you straight in the eye and tell you I had made my first million before I turned 25, and that I was starting up a new can't-miss venture, or that I was a traveling preacher, glory to God, and was on a mission to save starving children in inner Congolia, and have you believe in every word, and pulling out your checkbook. And let's just agree that I was not unfamiliar with having property of ambiguous ownership in my possession. So it was fairly uncharacteristic of me to be breaking a sweat over this little finders keepers situation. This fella coming up the aisle, he didn't know me from Adam, but I felt like he was going to take one look at my sorry self and punch me full of holes with that little ticket thing of his. And every step closer he took made me shake. By the time he gets to my row, I was ready to confess every awful thing I'd ever done, and even ones I hadn't. And I'm completely mystified about what was getting stuck in my crosso, which just served to add to my general state of agitation. Ticket? He stares me down with them watery hoot-owl eyes of his. This would be your first use of the ticket. He punches a hole in the air and then hands the untouched ticket back to me. Humph! With that, he turns on his heels and heads to the next car, not even bothering to check anybody else's tickets. And by the time he gets to that pass-through door, he says, "She prefers a window seat," and walks out. Well, that was it for me. By that point, I am on full tilt. Felt like I was in some sort of Twilight Zone episode where everybody's in on the joke but me. I was getting off that train even if it meant jumping off. Get out of my way, you piece of... Dang it! This one little speck of blood shows up on my thumb. I watch it grow, and after a spell, it turns into a drop. And as I'm looking at that drop, it's like I can see inside it. And deep inside are a bunch of little images of my life. Hurts from 1,000 dark moments. Both hurts done to me and hurts done by me, all mixed together. That one drop of blood falls off my thumb, right into Miss Rainsong's sound hole, deep into her black heart. Suddenly started feeling woozy, when I had to sit myself back down. In another minute, I was out cold. Somewhere during that death's doorstep sleep, I had a dream, so vivid. Even today, it's like I can reach into in back of my mind's eye and touch it. I'm standing at the county fairgrounds, a stone's throw from where I grew up. There's a banner for the county, for the carnival that used to come through every year. Except the entire place is empty, but for one attraction. Carnival barker calls across the field, "Come try your luck, come spin the wheel, spin the wheel, spin the wheel and a better deal, play the Get a Life lottery." Step right up, give it a spin, trade your tired life for a brand new skin. You could be the Queen of Sheba, win the Nobel Prize, be a famous supermodel, hear your fortunes rise, be a great tribal leader on the African plain. Just think about all you could gain, but you gotta spin the wheel, spin the wheel, spin the wheel and a better deal, play the Get a Life lottery. I check out that ticket in the palm of my hand, keep this lackluster life, I find the promised land. I step up to the marker, take a deep breath, trade my ticket with the barker for a happier death, and spin the wheel, I spin the wheel. history of humanity churns away. Millions die in misery or never lasted a day. Slavery, suffering, pain, and disease. The masses through the ages has succumbed to these. As the groaning wheel slows, it sinks in what I've done. The odds are doing better than me. Are 1,000,000,000 to 1. The Connie's eyes widen, I prepare for the worst. All my years standing here, this is a first. He hands me back my ticket, it's too good to be true. He says the new life you've landed is you. Now, what you gonna do? I woke to a blinding light heating up my face. Really couldn't see anything at all. After a spell of getting my bearings, I realized that the light is coming out of Miss Rainsong. More correctly, it's the sun reflecting off of her and into my face. She was propped up in the row across from mine, in a window seat no less, basking in the midday sun. I must have been out for at least 10 hours, so I had no earthly idea even what time zone we was in, and I was both dying of thirst and needing to piss like a racehorse. Pardon me, ma'am. I wasn't sure which one I needed fixing more. Well, drinking water went out of overpassing it on account of the fact that the lavatory was occupied, so I made my way to the cafe car. It was empty except for these two Amtrak folks. This one cafe car attendant, this beanpole of a man, was with one of the conductors, this grizzly bear, who looked like he needed to do quite a bit of negotiating to squeeze himself into the booth across the table from the other one. Hey, I need some water from the tap behind the counter there. The two of them look up at me and burst out laughing. I must have looked like an unmade bed. Grizzly bear says, "Rough night, son. Carl, could you please get this gentleman a cup of water? Have a seat, son." Now, you can imagine I was not exactly the sort to fraternize with folks wearing uniforms, and not just of the law enforcement ilk. In my experience, the less actual authority the uniform bestows on an individual, the more that individual throws their weight around and exercising that authority, if you know what I mean. But contrary to my better judgment, I sat myself down across from him. Carl comes back with the water and some coffee too, saying, "You look like you could do with a pick-me-up," and sits himself down next to me. So now I'm trapped, and I can feel my blood pressure rising. I managed to thank him before gulping down the water. Then Grizzly offers me a piece of his wife's world-famous coffee cake. When I decline, he says, "Come on now, you know you're starving. Think I'd steer you wrong? Look at me and say I don't know a thing or two about coffee cake." Carl says, "Coffee cake? Shoot. Any cake, pies, cookies, pudding. Old man here, he could sniff out the best hole in the wall for dessert 100 miles to the nearest train stop." So now I feel pretty much obligated to have some, seeing as they have me trapped in here. I say I'll have a bite and proceed to polish off the entire pan before I can even take a breath. Right about then, my bladder chimes in to remind me that I've transitioned from gotta pee to gonna pee. I start in to excuse myself, and Grizzly just, "Now hold on there. Carl, would you say that each new traveler seems even more lost than the last one?" "I sure would, Maynard. I sure would." "Son, you have any idea what you're in for?" No. I just came to use the facility and get some water." And I feel, "Yeah, just a minute now. Aren't you just the least bit curious about your traveling companion?" "Mister, you must have got me confused with somebody else. I'm traveling by myself. Now, if you don't mind, you mean you're not with Miss Rainsong?" No. Now wait there. You talking about that guitar? Oh, no. That guitar don't belong to me. I'm just watching out for it for its rightful owner. Young man, Miss Isabella Rainsong don't have no owner. In my understanding, slavery was abolished in this country under the Lincoln administration. What you are is Miss Rainsong's traveling companion. I have no idea what you all are talking about, but I got to go right now. And I jumped out of that booth right over the table and made a beeline for the bathroom. But there, any of you fellas out there know what stage fright is? You know, the men's room sort of stage fright where you're standing there in line at the urinal with a bunch of other fellas and you just can't bring yourself to, let it go no matter how bad you got to go. Yeah. Oh, so you know about other people, right? You know about other. Yeah. So there's this spot in your brain, I guess, it's in charge of deciding when the coast is clear, and you can relax enough, to take a leak, right? You all with me, right? Okay. So as soon as I slid that door shut, the whistle blew. That brain spot blew the whistle, and all those muscles I've been exercising for the last half hour went out for a smoke break. But relief was just a foot away in the form of a beautiful stainless steel bowl. But I'll be damned if I can't get these buttons loose. I'm trying like mad, and I can't shimmy down. The jeans I'm wearing are really snug, so I can't shimmy them down. I'm yelling, stop your presses, hold your fire. Houston, we have a problem. And that damn brain spot just kept shouting, full steam ahead. If you've been a drugged out, drunken loser as long as I had, you'd have found yourself sleeping in your own piss and vomit plenty of times. The thing is, in your mind, it ain't humiliating as much as it is infuriating. It's as though some other fella come and pissed and hurled all over you. You blame everybody but the somebody who is to blame. But as I looked down and saw my faded jeans turning dark blue, all I felt was shame. A deep, abiding shame. And for the first time in God knows how long, I started into crying. And once I started into crying, I just couldn't seem to stop. I must have been sobbing in that restroom a good 10 minutes when I feel this big old hand on my shoulder. I lift my head up, see my strung out self in the mirror, stinking, looking like death warmed over. Take a good long look, son. Where you're standing right now is rock bottom. Things will get better from here, I can promise you that. Miss Rainsong's going to take care of your soul. Me and the boys will take care of the rest. All you got to do is go along for the ride and keep yourself open to the experience. You think you can handle that? I didn't even think I had enough in me to take another breath, let alone live another day. I exhaled something approximating a moan, and Grizzly said, I'll take that as a yes. Now, we're about to pull into the station. You splash some water on your face and take a minute. Carl's going to get Miss Rainsong for you, then we'll hand you off to Mrs. Jenkins, the station master. She'll set you up with a place to rest up a while before you get on your way. As Grizzly walks out to leave me alone with my miserable excuse of a human being, he says, picking up Miss Rainsong and that ticket, it's kind of like winning the lottery, son. So how's it feel to be the luckiest man alive? I stood there alone, shaking like a newborn cow, and feeling about as far from being the luckiest man alive as Tuscaloosa is from Timbuktu. But whatever spark was left in my soul, hidden so deep in the dark that I had never even known it was there, somehow it resonated with what he was saying. And despite every piece of evidence to the contrary, my soul knew he was right. And I just needed to give in and let go to whatever experience was happening to me. And then, for the first time in my whole life, I felt an entirely new emotion. one I can only describe as, what do you got to lose? Hope. Can it be true? Can it really be you? You who's come to save me. Save me from me. Is there a chance? Could it be this circumstance has the power to unchain me and set me free? Could it be? Do I dare believe there is anything inside me worth pulling from the flame? Can you see something I can't see in me? Something I'm supposed to be? A future I could claim? It can't be true. Could it be true? Will it be true? I guess I'll have to trust you.
Attention all you Amtrak customers waiting to get moving again on Amtrak number 19. This storm seems to be just sitting between us and Birmingham, and there have been tornado sightings along the route. All we got up here is heavy rain, but the weather service is saying that we ought to just sit tight. So I suggest you all make yourselves comfortable and settle in for a wait. Our coffee maker's busted right now, but the water fountain puts out as good a water as you'll find in them bottles in the vending machines, and there's respectable coffee at the bus stop just up the road if you really need it. But I'll warn you, it's pretty nasty out there. In any case, don't go wandering off too far. Thank you for riding Amtrak.
Well now, I guess between all that, recounting that darkest of days and all the station master talk of rain and water fountains and coffee, well, let's just say I've learned my lesson about not waiting too long to answer nature's call. I'm going to take a break if you don't mind, and when I get back, I'll tell you all about what happened next. If that's all, if y'all still want to listen. All right then. I was wondering how many would still be here after I got back. Good to know that listening to our story ranks somewhere above being huddled outside in the driving rain. Even so, if y'all got something we'd rather be doing, just say so and I can let y'all ride out the storm in peace. Nope? All right then. Well, let's get back to it. Let's see now. Where was I? Oh yeah, rock bottom. We'll just let the curtain of civility descend on what transpired over the next few days in that tiny little room in the back of the station. Actually, I don't really even know how long it was. Might have been a week or more. Long enough anyway for my poor excuse for a beard to start growing in. It turns out I needed some time to flush out all the stuff I'd been smoking, snorting, and shooting in my body for the last umpteen years. I was a shameful mess. I was grateful that the distance between the bed and the shower and the John was no more than 10 steps total. Still, I got through the worst of it and was eventually clear-headed enough to notice a clean set of clothes had been laid out for me. I found my way to a break room, and there were some Amtrak folks drinking coffee and shooting the bull. When they caught wind of me, it was clear that some of them had money on me coming out of that room in a pine box. After they had me clean up my little rehab unit, they sent me on my way on the Texas Eagle to Chicago. Me and Miss Rainsong, we've been on our way ever since, though the two-where part of the whole deal took the longest time of all to figure out. I wasn't sure at first how this whole thing was supposed to work, but after a while I got to know the drill. I took care of Miss Rainsong, and the Amtrak folks took care of me, more or less. I mean, it wasn't like I was a VIP or nothing. I wasn't a prisoner neither. I was free to come and go, could take any train I wanted, hang out at the station, wander around the towns where we stopped. If I needed something to eat, I got it at the cafe car booth, cafe car. Sometimes one of the conductors might pack a little extra something for me. When I needed a shower, I just stopped at the station, and the station master would point me to a place to wash up. When I got out, there'd be a set of clothes waiting for me. Nothing fancy, just pants, shirt, underclothes, coat or jacket if I needed it. They fit well enough. And it wasn't like some big mysterious thing neither. More like part of the system making the trains go. You know, it was somebody's job to refill the paper towel dispensers in the train's bathrooms, and somebody else's job to make sure I had clean clothes whenever I came in for a shower. Most of them treated me about like you would a paper towel dispenser. Not particularly mean, but not nice neither. I was just one more part of the system they had to keep making sure it worked, and that was that. So between eating, sleeping, getting a little exercise, wandering around the towns where we stopped, all I had to do was take care of Miss Rainsong. I made sure she stayed comfortable, propped up in a window seat like she liked it. I also sort of acted like a celebrity bodyguard. You know, people were coming on and off the train all the time, sometimes for short trips, other times for days on end. Pretty much everybody who laid eyes on her was mesmerized by her, drawn to her even. Not everybody, though. You know, some folks were just too tied up in themselves or their work to lift their head up to notice her. It was a shame, really. And then this one, you know, like that one couple we talked about back in the cafe car. Then there was this one woman. She was neither drawn nor numb to Miss Rainsong. She seemed transfixed on her, but kind of like someone who comes upon a horrific accident and just can't bear to look away. And the longer she looked, the longer her face got. It took a while, but I finally got her to tell me her story. Annie Mae, look and see, Tammy rushes in to tell her, you won't believe it, I was caller number 43, front row seats, limousine, a full-size color poster. I can't believe it, this is really happening to me. It's like a dream we finally get to hear, the country entertainer of the year. But there is something Tammy doesn't know. Annie Mae was with him back when he was just an average Joe. She used to be his inspiration. Every song was a love note just for her. They shared their dreams when dreams were all they had. Now he's finally made his move up to the big time. He reached the moon, but he left her back behind. Now she's just another fan in the crowd. Long ago, far away, they hit the road together. They lived on tips and dreams while he worked the music scene. She'd sit back so she could hear him play and pour his heart out on the music stage. He'd sing to her like no one else was there. If people saw their love, she didn't care. She used to be his inspiration. Every song was a love note just for her. They shared their dreams when dreams were all they had. Now he's finally made his move up to the big time. He reached the moon, but he left her back behind. Now she's just another fan in the crowd. He takes the stage, and from the screaming crowd it's plain to see this country superstar is every woman's fantasy. They shout his name together as the house lights dim. They would give anything to be with him. Final song, single spot. He sings a tender ballad, just him and his guitar, like those days so long ago. Suddenly he sees her in the crowd. He stops his song and calls her name out loud. He sings to her like no one else is there. If people see their love, she doesn't care. Daddy May, you are right. You're in a trance or something. The concert's over. Betty whispers as she tries to speak. I have to tell you something you don't know. We were together back when he was just an average Joe. I used to be his inspiration. Every song was a love note just for me. We shared our dreams when dreams were all we had. Now he's finally made his move up to the big time. He reached the moon, but he left me back behind. Now I'm just another fan in the crowd. She used to be his inspiration, but now she's just another fan in the crowd. Now, I am the last person who has a clue about how love's supposed to work. I mean, Miss Rainsong here is the first thing I ever even really took care of, let alone had a clue about how to love. But love between two people? Man, I got no idea. You know, I was on the Isabella this one time, and I was sitting next to this scientist, a professor or something, who was doing research on the chemistry of love, and not like metaphorical chemistry, as in they had great chemistry together. I mean like actual in your brain sort of chemistry. The way he told it, Cupid's got nothing to do with it. Got this funny feeling coming over me. Feel a little woozy, sort of weak in the knee. It's got me wondering, is this love that I'm feeling? The science man says you got it all wrong. It isn't love that's making your heart beat so strong. It's a genetic condition, a predisposition. When that woman walks over your way, your response is determined by your DNA. Evolution will decide if she turns you on. It's as predictable as counting the toes on your feet. It's a statistical certainty your heart skips a beat. It isn't love that you're feeling, it's really just a chemical bond. Oh yeah, it's really just a chemical bond. Oh yeah, those ruby red lips looking so fine, they're just a marker, an external sign of a healthy condition of adequate nutrition. And the curves on your body driving me wild are telling me you're capable of having my child to enhance propagation of the human population. And that wry sense of humor that's blowing my mind means your intellect will get us out of a bind. Escape a fire or a saber-toothed tiger. Oh yeah. Can this be love this way I feel? Conditioning makes the emotion so real. But now I understand the mystery's gone. The chain reaction when our eyes meet, it's a synaptic connection. The circuit's complete. It isn't love that we're feeling, it's really just a chemical bond. Oh yeah, it's really just a chemical bond. Oh yeah, it's just a chemical bond. You know, I've been playing these songs like I've been playing them my whole life. The actual truth of the matter is something else entirely. For the first few months riding the train, I took care of Miss Rainsong all right, but I never actually played her. I just would stare at her for hours on end, like she was looking glass into some other world, or hold her sometimes just to feel her body against mine. I was so caught up in her. Then finally, one of the conductors pulled me aside and says, "She needs to be played, you know, every day, just like a Jersey cow needs to be milked. She must be pretty heavy with song right now." I know you're going to think I'm a total idiot when I admit this, but the thought of playing Miss Rainsong right up to that very moment had never even crossed my mind. I never even wondered what she sounded like. For me, it would have been like strumming a statue or plucking on a suitcase or something. I was so tied to her as a physical thing, the way she looked and felt in my arms. See, here's the thing. I didn't know the first thing about guitars, or music at all for that matter. You might even say that I had developed sort of a bias against music, like I was a musical bigot or something. See, the fact is, I hadn't even sung a note or as much as tapped out a beat with my fingers since I was about 4 years old. One day, I come home from my next door neighbors. I'd been playing like schoolhouse with one of my little friends, and his older sister was the teacher, and she taught us the ABC song. I come home all proud of myself, singing real loud, and my dad said I sounded like a howling alley cat, and a sick one at that. So I sang louder. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Oh, you bitch! You shut the fuck up or you'll be a dead cat! Still have this scar from that little escapade, courtesy of dear old Dad, flinging his half-full beer can on my head. I'd show him, I thought. Next week at his birthday, I refused to sing the happy birthday song. Just to prove the point, I never sang again. Not a single note. After a while, I forgot all about what started the whole thing, right up until that day on the train. And the memory hit me right between the eyes. I think back on days like that when another similar episodes involving my father, of which there are thankfully precious few, and I can see how they set me off on a path to nowhere good. Of course, I had some good examples too. Every once in a while there'd be a coach or a teacher or a neighbor who'd sort of take me under their wing for a spell. I don't know why. Maybe because they saw what kind of predicament I was in at home. They'd do what they could, and I'd end up inevitably acting out or doing something stupid and mean and disappointing them. I guess I was an angry kid. But I still appreciate the effort they made in trying to show me another way of treating folks. So whenever I see someone mistreating their kid on the train, lashing out at them or talking to them like they're not even human beings or let alone their own flesh and blood, I do my best to point them in a different direction with a smile or a story or a song. I like to think maybe I made just a little bit of difference in one of those little ones' lives, though I'll never really know for sure. Do you remember me? Probably not. I think about you quite a lot, wondering how time has been treating you, all the big adventures you've been through. You needed a hand, I gave you a boost, held you for a moment, then cut you loose, sent you out into the big bad world. Though the time we shared was just a moment or two, you're in my heart, and I wish for you. Green grass between your toes, cool drinks from a water hose, fields of fireflies at night, lazy days, summers, and water gun fights, candy canes and homemade pies, silly songs and lullabies, but most of all when I look to the stars above, baby child, I pray you find love. Years have passed, time's ticking away, we're getting older day by day. Every year becomes a bigger unknown. So now every time you cross my mind, I send out a wish in hopes you'll find secrets only your best friend knows, swapping notes in the back 2 rows, playing that piano piece just right, first kiss on a perfect night, scoring that last minute soccer goal, homecoming dances and honor roll, and every time I look to the stars above, baby child, I pray you find love. And someday I hope you find someone to care for too, 'cause the best sort of wish is the kind that you pass on through. And you can wish someone green grass between your toes, cool drinks from a water hose, fields of fireflies at night, lazy days, summers, and water gun fights, candy canes and homemade pies, silly songs and lullabies, but most of all when I look to the stars above, baby child, baby child, baby child, I pray you find love. Now, I don't want to give you the impression that all the parents I see on the train abuse their kids or something like that. I've seen all sorts of great examples of moms and dads on the train, like this one goofball of a guy whose little boy let out this totally infectious giggle whenever his daddy did something fun. When the conductor comes by, he says, "My daddy is the king of all the daddies." Made me smile. So we wrote this song for him. Since my early days, I've tried to find ways to fit in with the happening crew. But whatever my plot, Fool I was not, didn't matter what I do. I was always on the outside, every day just another blow to my pride. And to tell the truth, I was a total goof. It's true. Fast forward now, and I'll tell you how this big daddy came to rule. I was handed a son, but was nearly undone by sippy cups, diapers, and drool. But as my boy began to grow, in time I came to know, to my surprise, in his eyes I'm cool. Because I can blow bubbles, and I can juggle 3 balls. I can whip up a snack, let him ride on my back. I even let him scribble on the bathtub walls. I can laugh like Tigger, hoo-hoo-hoo, make a splash in the pool. To the rest of the crowd, I ain't too proud to admit I play the fool. But to my son, I'm the king of fun, 'cause I'm a daddy kind of cool. Now every day in most every way we stick together like glue. And after his nap he gets up on my lap when it's time to watch Winnie the Pooh. He thinks that I'm a rock star when he sees me strumming on my guitar. And we're happening cats when we Jungle Book scat like Louie and Baloo. Hey, zabba-ba-no-day, ha-da-dee-da-da-da-da-no. Zin-a-bep-doo-zabba-doo-ba-day, za-bones-a-doo-ba-day, za-bones-a-ba-ba-ba-bay, habba-doo-bee, with the reba-naza, hebba-dabba-door, with the la-ba-zini, bubba-da-up-doo-ba-da-up, zibba-da-up-doo-bay, ho-hoo-hee-hee-hee, and so you see, he wants to be like me. And though it's clear to everyone here, I'm really quite the fool. So what, I can't recall a single Beatles song. I can name every wiggle and sing along. At least for a while, he's hip to my style. I'm as hip as they get with the tricycle set. I said to my son, I'm the king of fun, 'cause I'm a daddy, kind of cool. I'm a daddy, kind of cool. So bye-bye, daddy-da-da-da. Thank you. You know, it's funny how you don't realize you're missing something when you don't know it's something you're supposed to have. Kind of like a 3-legged hound dog running around like he has 4. That is until somebody points it out to you. Then all of a sudden, it's all you can think about. I reckon that's what all them Madison Avenue folks do to make all that money. They figure out how to get you thinking you just got to have something you never even knew existed. So like I was saying before about what that conductor said about Miss Rainsong being all heavy laden with song and all, it kind of hit me. And all of a sudden I went from decades of not even thinking a lick about music, suddenly being all obsessed with wanting to know what Miss Rainsong sounded like. And what I sounded like, for that matter. But I didn't want to hear her for the very first time on the train. Something told me it was going to be a pretty important moment. So I got off the next stop and found my way to a nice quiet place. I found a cemetery up on a hill overlooking the train yard where I could look down and watch the trains come and go. Then when everybody had cleared out and the time was just right, as much as I had been moved the first time I laid eyes on her, hearing Miss Rainsong's voice completely did me in. We just kept repeating sounds and patterns that sounded right. I can't really explain how it was I was able to play, other than it wasn't really me playing. It was Miss Rainsong singing and showing me where to put my fingers to connect with her voice. She showed me how to find new voices by turning them little pegs. Then she showed me how to use that little clothespin capo thing. All the while, I started thinking about the last few months and how Miss Rainsong had become so much more than my traveling companion. Now she was my best friend, my lover, my therapist, my dance partner, all wrapped up in one black beauty. And then it just sort of came out of me. I could spend all my days in a deep navel gaze to find where life's mysteries lay, or ascend a high mountain in search of a fountain to wash all my worries away. I could learn how to meditate in a hypnotic state and find healing in the results, or let down my hair in a therapist's chair and finally reveal all my foibles and faults, or perhaps I'll just learn how to waltz. And it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, gliding so easily, floating like Fred Astaire, lighter than air. And it's left side closed, back side closed, round and round, so it goes, filling the room with enchantment, romance. As for me, I just like to dance. I envision a place beyond time and space, where wishes transcend circumstance. In my Neverland dream, love reigns supreme, and every lost hope gets its own second chance. It could happen if we all join the dance. And it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, gliding so easily, floating like Fred Astaire, lighter than air. And it's left side close, back side close, round and round, so it goes, filling the room with enchanting romance. As for me, I just like to dance. Dancing with nary a care, lost in the rise and the fall. Dancing wherever I dare, free from all worries, no fears to recall. Free from my brokenness, free from it all. The floor can be yours if you'll just take the chance. Pardon me. Would you care to dance? Well, that night was the night my dance with Miss Rainsong really began. I mean, before, taking care of Miss Rainsong was a job, not a chore exactly, because it wasn't particularly hard, but now it was all I could do to keep my hands off her. And now that we were singing together, even more than before, people were drawn to Miss Rainsong like a moth to a flame, like they needed to be close to her. And they'd start talking to me, but more like you talk to somebody through an interpreter, because really they was talking to her. Not just idle chit-chat, how's the weather sort of stuff, neither. No, they started pouring out their souls and telling their life stories and asking her for advice.
Excuse me, folks. I need your attention for just a minute. It's looking like it's still going to be a while before we can get you back on the number 19 so we can get you all to New Orleans. The storm is easing up here a bit, but it's still causing quite a ruckus to the southeast of us. They're saying an hour, but it wouldn't surprise me if it isn't 2 or 3. If you're only planning on going as far as Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or Meridian or Laurel, Mississippi, there is a local bus service leaving in about 45 minutes out of the terminal just up the road. I just called and confirmed that they are still operating, so you may want to consider that option if it suits you. Otherwise, we'll keep you warm and dry here until we're on our way again. Thanks for your patience.
Well, I reckon I'll be better off taking the bus from here. It'll probably get me close to where I'm heading anyhow. You know, I guess I got so caught up in sharing all these stories and songs with you, I never did get back around to telling you why it was I was heading this way in the first place, because of the message and all. There's so much more to share. But I reckon I better not leave you hanging, so I'll tell you now before I go. It was about 4 months ago, or about a month ago, I guess, when everything changed. I was way out on the Zephyr line near Elko, Nevada. I'd taken to sleeping out under the stars whenever the weather was favorable. I'd just borrow a blanket from the station master at one of the smallest stations and fill up my canteen here, my only possession besides this here clothes, this polishing rag. We just hike out to the middle of nowhere and make camp. Watch the stars put on a show. Ain't nothing like it. All those lights, 1,000,000 billion, who could ever count them all? Another night, just a speck in the darkness. All that space makes you feel so small. A flash of light, then suddenly everything is brighter than the brightest day. An angel in white fills up the sky. He calls my name and I hear him say, I go to Glessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop before Starbucks or IHOP. You help to keep them open. I'm worried that their sales will drop from the big boys taking over and pushing out the moms and pops, popping up on every corner. They're multiplying, has to stop. Serving up waffles around the clock and half-capped lattes on every block and trying to make you think you're cool, all while playing you for the fool by charging you $5 for a cup of joe. Go, you go, you go. You go, you go. Go to Glessy May's, and then the heavenly host started singing. Go to Glessy May's, go to Glessy May's, Glessy May's, Glessy May's, Glessy May's. Before they fade away. So I don't know about you, but I'll tell you what. Big old Angel comes to me and tells me to go somewhere pronto. I, for one, am not one to argue, at least not anymore. There was a time, I suppose, when I might have just told him off, but now I was ready for him, or at least as ready as I figured I'll ever be. These last few years, I've been on a journey all across America, courtesy of Amtrak, with no particular aim or end other than to clear my head and open my heart to whatever comes along. And now, for the first time since I started traveling with Miss Rainsong, really now, for the first time my whole life, I have a place to be, a destination, maybe even a destiny. I really have no idea, but things are definitely going to change. So like I said, Angel says, go. I say, yes, sir, right away, sir. And while it's not my custom to say anything disparaging about angelical messengers or nothing, I do have a bit of a bone to pick about this particular message from this particular messenger. Because while he was quite specific about the establishment I was to patronize, Glessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop, that was crystal clear. And if I didn't catch it that first night, I sure caught it every night since, when he's invaded my dreams to say it all over again. But this particular messenger never bothered making mention of the geographical location of this particular coffee shop. Not a town, state, train line, time zone, nothing. So I started asking folks, lots of folks, pretty much everybody I came across. Excuse me, ma'am, you know where I can find Glessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop? I'm sorry to bother you, sir. You know about Glessy May? She sells pies and coffees in her shop. Somebody, anybody, you know Glessy May? I got to find Glessy May. I started sounding like one of them folks that got some bug up their bun about something or other, just can't get off of it. Between frantically looking for Glessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop all day long and being badgered by Mr. Insistent Angel all night long, I was strung out and certifiable for sure. That was until 3 days ago. I was doing my usual Inquisition march, asking every person on the train about Glessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop when I walked into the cafe car and heard a familiar voice. Why, son, you look like you could do with a piece of my wife's world-famous coffee cake. It was old Grizzly, but I didn't recognize him at first, so I just snapped. Coffee cake? I don't need no coffee cake. I need pie, not cake. More specifically, pie from Glessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop. I don't reckon you ever heard of it, and just kept walking. Heard of it? Why, I never miss a chance to visit when I'm running the Crescent Line down in New Orleans. It's a decent haul off the line. Got to catch a bus in Tuscaloosa, and then you got to walk a spell. It's out in the middle of nowhere, a little speck of a town, Giddy Bend, Alabama. But I'm telling you, it is worth the effort. Best peach pie I ever ate. Once what old Grizzly said stunk in, I gave him the biggest bear hug I could muster, and did enjoy a piece or two of Mrs. Grizzly's coffee cake. Then I got him to tell me exactly how to find this place, and we made a plan so I could get there as soon as physically possible. I was way out on the Empire Builder line near Fargo, North Dakota at that point, so it took me a while to make it to this point. The conductors all seemed to know that my journey was going through a change, because they all seemed to want to shake my hand and offer me a piece of encouraging word, you know. Even that old geezer with the hoot owl eyes from that very first night wished me luck. It was the first time any of them had paid more attention to me than to Miss Rainsong. Then last night, I stopped in Atlanta to get a shower and sleep on a real bed. I woke the next morning to a knock from some of the fellas. The station master hands me a pen and tells me I have to sign for Miss Rainsong. I say, well, sure, where do I sign? He points to Miss Rainsong. I wasn't sure at first, but then I understood I was supposed to sign her. So I lifted her up and looked around a while till I found a nice spot right against where she rubs up against me on my heart, and I signed her. Only the pen didn't seem to work. Station master said it was fine, and then he hands me an envelope saying the boys had taken up a collection for me to help me get started on the next leg of my journey. Then one of the other fellas hands me my old clothes all folded up and laundered, or at least as laundered as they could get them. I'm kind of surprised they didn't just burn them. Felt mighty strange pulling on these old jeans and boots again. I felt like such a different soul from that man I was in that past life. It's like I was pulling on the skin of a stranger I did not care to know. But After a while, I realized I was still the same man, definitely a changed man, but not a man defined by his clothes or by the transgressions of his past. I'm just a traveler on a journey. Only now, I know how to share that journey with another. That other happened to be a guitar, an amazing and beautiful soul in her own right, a soul I will be forever grateful for having met. I'm grateful for all y'all letting me and Miss Rainsong share our story. I guess it is kind of an amazing tale when you put it all together like this. What happens next? I don't know. Maybe the end of the story is me getting a piece of pie and a cup of joe. Or maybe that's the beginning of a different story. Or maybe it's the beginning of a story for somebody else. I really have no idea. One thing I do know, it's moments that matter. And I'm grateful for having shared this moment with you. You mind me sharing one last moment with you, Miss Rainsong, sharing one more song before I go? Thank you. Thank you so very much. Longing for magical moments, moments that never last long. No sooner you find one's upon you, it's over and gone. Living on magical moments helps you get through the unknowns. Just when you're thinking the curtain will close, you breathe life into this old bag of bones. Not the chemical kind that blow through your mind and leave you in pain when they're through. They're gentle and pure, subtle yet sure, and make life worth living when you can enter the moment. Leaning on magical feelings that finish too fast. You find yourself searching for something to make feelings last. Listening for magical meanings that unlock the mysteries within. As if when you find out the secret, the answers unfold and life can begin. But you can't force a moment, it won't be cajoled. No elusive elixir makes moments unfold. But when your soul is at peace and you're looking away, the magic will find you, the moment will stay. You can see it inside your one true love's eyes. In a stranger's good morning, a baby's soft cries, You never can know when a moment will show. When your heart's ready, the moments will flow. So forget your agenda, drop your guard, let go and surrender. It's really not hard. Simply set yourself free and fear flies away. And give in to the magical moments that happen each day. Just think how this old world would be if we all lived this way. Just think how this old world would be if we all loved this way.
Your attention, please. With the traveling companion of Miss Isabella Rainsong, please meet her in the passenger waiting area.